Have you ever wondered what a real crocodile egg looks like? This is an infertile crocodile egg. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this tutorial. And also there are other crocodile things that you can learn how to make as well. I'm Mel from Two Feathers Gallery and thanks so much for joining me in this tutorial. Let's get started. Anyway, what I'm doing to start is applying a few layers of gesso to the egg. This just means that the acrylic paint that we're going to use is going to stick really well to the surface. And here you can see that I'm drawing out a little bit of a map of where I want the kind of cracks and little features to be on the parchment design that I've created, using a little bit of painter's tape to pop that onto the egg and then just transferring that on. So in this time lapse I'm going to show you so the surface preparation and how I transform this egg into a little work of art with acrylic paint. It can be any brand acrylic paint that you like. Here you can see I'm just touching up a few areas with the gesso, and you can use any type of egg that you like for this painting. So it's like a large size chicken egg or a small duck egg. You might want to substitute with that. As you can see, it's very similar to an actual bird's egg because it's slightly tapered and it looks like it has a very dimpled surface. So that's probably the only difference from a bird's egg, is the dimpled surface, which has little pores in it that are what the baby crocodile uses to get its water and oxygen, which is pretty cool. So anyway, depending on the type of crocodile, they can lay anywhere from 40 to 80 eggs at a time, which is a lot of eggs. I thought my sister had enough children. She's got 5 kids. Couldn't imagine what it'd be like having 80 little crocodiles kicking around. Anywho, so continuing on, and what we're doing is we've just transferred that drawing onto the egg by putting graphite on the back and then applying pressure on the top. And I've just started painting with more of a kind of raw umber type brown. It could be any shade of brown that you like, and I'm using little miniature brushes. So these little brushes are really handy. I would definitely recommend using either a synthetic or a sable brush, because these are much better for getting in those tiny details and getting a smoother application and look for this particular type of project. So I'm just going in now and putting in little sections of white where I'd like some of the cracks to be. So the inspiration for this egg is Davinci's drawings, and he has a lot of them on parchment, and that's how I kind of came up with the idea for this piece. So next what I'm doing is using some of that brown just to highlight the little cracks of the egg that I put in earlier, just so it makes it look like it's got a bit of a shadow, and it kind of makes it look like it's going to pop out a little bit more. And just so you know, I did generally have to use quite a lot of water and water down my acrylic paint mixes whilst doing this, because I did find that the egg surface was really porous and really drank in a lot of the water and moisture from the paint. So I had to keep continually dipping it into the water and making a very watery paint mix. So just adding a few highlights with the white paint there to the little kind of features on the parchment. I hope your little crocodile is looking fantastic. I'm just putting a little bit of a drop shadow on the bottom. The light source is coming from the top left hand corner with this particular drawing and painting piece. You could put the light source wherever you'd like, of course. It doesn't have to be where I put it. And anyway, this is a Posca marker. It's called a Uni Posca. It's a PC-1M bullet shaped 0.7 millimeter marker in a brown color. I got mine for about $7 or something from my local Office Works here in Australia. And it's really cool. You just have to apply extremely light pressure and you'll get a very nice thin line So this is going to save a lot of time rather than having to load up either a liner or what is also called a rigger brush. Rather than having to load that up to get it all, you know, nice and flat and then hold it at the right angle and reload it again, it's just so much easier to use this really ultra handy acrylic paint pen. So here you'll see I'm marking in the scales down the back and just how quick and easy that is. And just putting in some of the shadow in the darkest parts behind the little baby crocodile. And that makes the baby crocodile really jump out. And just adding a couple of little interesting parts with a darker shade of the raw umber, adding a little bit of, I think I may have added a touch of black at this stage. And just under the top of the eyelid, a little line just to make that jump out. You can see the little drawing on the right that I'm kind of, it's my reference drawing, and just hatching away with that pen, which is super easy. And I didn't like the mouth, so I tried that again, creating more depth and dimension by adding more shadow. And this is the liner rigger brush I was talking about. And I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the bits of his body that got a little bit dirty before and redoing that little part near his head. So you can just cross hatch and add lines wherever you'd like them to be according to your own preference for the shadows and the light source. In with that liner brush, mini liner brush with a few more dark shadows and another brush there. That was a miniature dagger brush before. Back onto the rigger brush now. And then I've picked up the Posca marker again just to make all of the little vein-like type cracks around the edges and just to make them really stand out. Drop shadow for the tail. Just added a little bit, I think just add a little bit of the yellow ochre just to make it a tiny bit more yellow. A few more lines on top of those bits of parchment, and then just bringing up some white highlights with a rigger brush just for the eye and the nose. I did try a little bit of green there, really subtle green, and decided I did not like it at all. I thought it kind of, for me, it kind of cheapened it a little bit. Here's my little sample that I've worked on to kind of try out little bits and pieces. And I was lucky enough to have another Posca pen lying around, and it's a PC 3M bullet shaped 0.9 to 1.3 millimeter white Posca pen. Same acrylic paint, and instead of, as I said before, having to load it up, just really quick and easy, just simply draw it on. And just putting some Roman numerals on the bottom there so it's a little bit more Davinci-ish. And this is the finished product. I'm very happy with this little guy. I hope that your little guy turned out really well as well. And thank you for watching so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. To discover more creative ideas, please click on one of the links at the end of this video.